We are live.
Good morning. I'm the Executive Director of the Public Design Commission, and welcome. If you're joining us via Zoom and would like to testify, please sign up through the Google form link, which is linked on our meeting agenda. Commissioners, a reminder to please bring the microphone close to you and speak into them while talking so people on YouTube can hear. Thank you so much. Over to you, Chair Martin.
Good morning. I'm Deborah Martin. I'm Chair at the Public Design Commission. Welcome to the Public Design Commission meeting. As New York City's design review agency, the Public Design Commission has jurisdiction over the design of permanent structures, landscape architecture, and art proposed on or over city-owned property. Today's meeting is being held in person at City Hall. Members of the public can attend and give testimony either in person or remotely. The public meeting is now commencing with the consent agenda and item numbers 28903 to 28931 and item numbers 28939 to 28955. Due to a lack of in-person quorum at the August 12th, 2024 public meeting, item numbers 28903 to 28931 were unable to be approved in August. They were, however, given a recommendation for approval and are therefore included in today's consent agenda. Please note a few recusals. Commissioner Van Bramer is recused from item 28909. Commissioner Keel is recused from item 28904. Commissioner Casilla is recused from item 28912. Commissioner Maloney is recused from item 28943. And Commissioner Tisch is recused from items 28942 and 28951. Are there any other recusals to note? Okay. Seeing none, we'll proceed with the vote. Commissioners, when I call your name, please state your vote for the consent agenda. Isabel Casilla?
Approval.
Karen Keo? Carrie Maloney?
Approval.
Manuel Miranda?
Approve.
Meryl Tisch? Approve. Jimmy Van Bramer?
Approve.
I also approve all, so let the record show, noting the recusals, that all items are approved. Okay. We'll now continue with the public hearing portion of our meeting. The first public hearing item is number 28956, preliminary review of the construction of a water recirculation system, including adjacent site work south of Central Park North between Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Boulevard and Malcolm X Boulevard. Please note that this project is located at a designated scenic landmark, and as such, the Landmarks Preservation Commission has issued an advisory report, and the commission has reviewed and brought that report into our consideration. Per standard procedure, applicants will give their presentation, then public testimony will be heard, and then the commission will ask questions, deliberate, and vote. We will hear in-person testimony first, followed by testimony from remote participants. We can now proceed with the presentation. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Diane Jackier. I'm the Vice President for Program Management at the Central Park Conservancy. I'm here with a few folks here. Steve Bope, who is our Studio Planning Director, Sandy Huber, who is our Senior Vice President for our Capital Projects team, Nick Koster, who's our VP for Design, and we also have Karina Bishop, who is one of our Program Managers. Online, we also have one of our engineering consultants, excuse me, Eric Rothstein from eDesign Dynamics. So we're here to present to you, as mentioned, the North End Recirculation Project, which is the first project that we're going to be showing to you today. This is an incredibly exciting project that's going to be really impactful to the park. But what's incredible is once it's all done, most people probably won't even know it's there because most of what we're doing is underground infrastructure. So should have picked this up before. So just to give you all a little bit of history and background on this, the northern water bodies in Central Park, north of the reservoir, are the West 100th Street Pool, the Lock, and the Mere. Is it this button I press that show you? So the water that we have comes in, potable water comes in from the 97th Street transverse. We also have water that comes in from 101st Street along Central Park West. And the water flows by gravity through the pool, through the Lock, through the Mere, to a combined sewer on Fifth Avenue. What we're proposing for this project is on the right side of the screen here, which is this red line. And so what we're proposing is through a system of pipes and pumps to pump the water, instead of having it go out onto Fifth Avenue to the combined sewer, it would go back to a manhole just south of the 100th Street pool. It would again flow by gravity from the pool, the lock to the mere, and just go around and recirculate. So one thing just to note in terms of the history of this, what's amazing is from some of the annual reports from the Central Park Board of Commissioners, we have references to a recirculation system. So Olmsted and Vaux were ahead of their time in so many ways that they were sort of referencing an engine to recirculate and redistribute the water. Although it was never built, the idea was there. The idea came around again in the early 2000s when the Department of Environmental Protection did a water quality management report. And they were actually looking to do a recirculation system throughout the park, the entire park. That did not go forward just because of cost and physical barriers in the park. But the idea came up again in 2018 when DEP was again looking to reduce the potable water usage throughout the city. If you remember, that was the time they were installing low flow toilets in some of the NYCHA housing, some of the other things that were being implemented. And because of this project and its use of potable water, the DEP folks reached out to the Conservancy and said, is there anything that we can do here? And we worked with our consultants and determined that at the northern end of the park, there was a recirculation system that we could implement. And that's how we got to where we are today. And so a few things I just want to note, we are not going to be removing any trees as part of this project. This red line is just for illustrative purposes, but we are going to be going through ball fields, going under pathways. We're not going to be impacting any trees. We also are going to be shutting off the potable water sources. So both at the 97th Street transverse, at the West 101st Street location, the potable water will be shut off. In addition, we are going to be connecting these systems to the weather. So we're going to have weather sensors throughout the system. If there is a large rain event predicted, the Harlem Mere actually will lower probably somewhere between 6 to 12 inches to create capacity to capture that stormwater. And then also just want to mention, we have a few arrows in both the mere and the pool. We're going to be installing filtration systems to help with the water quality. So one other thing I just wanted to note, we are going to also be adding about 40 acres to the watershed here from the North Woods, about 22 acres, and right around here where the Conservatory Garden is. So it'll be a total of 204 acres, of stormwater that is going to be captured through this system. It's about 30% of the park's acreage. Just some of the projected benefits from this system, which are really impactful. So we are predicting that we're going to save about 480,000 gallons of potable water a day. That calculates out to about 175 million gallons of potable water saved a year, which is pretty incredible. Because of the sort of system that we're installing that will lower the mere during wet weather, we're predicting we're going to save about 67 million gallons and have about a 90% reduction of water going into the combined sewer during wet weather events. This is really something that we're hoping will improve the flooding in East and Central Harlem. The models are showing that that's what it will do. And then last, but certainly not least, is we're looking for improved water quality and a reduction of the harmful algal blooms. So we're installing those filtration systems in both the mere and the pool. And then we also, because of the significant reduction in potable water, which has a lot of phosphorus in it, phosphorus actually contributes to the harmful algal blooms. Without that potable water and that phosphorus, we're also expecting to have an improved water quality. So just very quickly, as I mentioned at the beginning, we are going to have most of the infrastructure here is going to be underground, but there are going to be a few surface area features. There's going to be some at what we're calling Harlem Mere East, the Harlem Mere Northwest, and then by the West 100th Street pool. So I'll just quickly go through those. So this is just a close-up showing of some of the details of what we're going to be installing here. We're going to have a filter vault and a few other things here. We have a few existing photos and renderings of what we're going to be installing. So there's some hatch doors, there's some manhole covers. These are features that we see in the park every day. We are going to be concealing them as much as possible, and they really will be something that nobody notices when they're walking through the park. There are a few other features here, some wall panels on the back of this concession building here, an electrical cabinet along the wall on Fifth Avenue. And then when we go to the northwest side, we just have a few surface features here. There's going to be an electrical cabinet along the wall at 110th Street and just a few manhole covers that are going to be in the lawn. And then close to the West 100th Street pool, we're going to have another filter vault underground. And some of the surface features that people will see are manhole covers, an electrical cabinet, again, pretty much not visible to the naked eye. And RPZ leaf hatch door. So just some photos of some of the plantings that we're also going to be installing as part of this project as well. And that's it.
Thank you. I will just check to see if we have any requests for testimony. Jenna, has anybody signed up for remote public testimony?
Hi, we have received no requests for online testimony. Is anyone within the Zoom room here to testify? If so, please use the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen. Give you a moment. Seeing no hands, I think we can proceed. Thanks.
Thank you. We also don't have anybody here in person, so we can now move on to the discussion portion.
Commissioners, questions or comments? Isabel.
I have some questions. First of all, thank you for the thorough presentation. It's great to see that Central Park is taking these measures and improving how they can, impact the city and lower water usage. So that's great. I'm just curious about how this actually works on storm events. You mentioned 48 hours before a storm event, you would lower the water on the Mere. Where does that water go to?
I'm actually going to call Steve Bope up, who's our studio planning director, and I know Eric Rothstein is online, and they will be able to answer some of those more technical questions.
Yes, do I need a microphone?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it would generally be less than 48 hours. Basically, the system, and there's a similar system in operation already for the last several years at Brooklyn Botanic Garden. So it takes into account the weather forecast, and it's more within a day of the storm. It would lower, it could even be 12 hours, lower the Mere, and it actually goes to combined sewer. But in discussions with DEP, putting water into combined sewer during that dry weather period wasn't a concern because it's not contributing to CSOs or, the period of concern is really during wet weather. So it prevents the outflow during wet weather by putting the water in during dry weather and creating that capacity.
And then say the weather became unpredictable, there was a lot more rain expected than what you lowered. Is there an emergency system, or would it just flood if eventually there's too much water in the Mere?
There's an overflow so that any overflow would go to combined sewer. So that's sort of all taken into account the modeling that shows on average year, we would be reducing the outflow by 90%. So that other 10% would be those overflow events.
I have a question about the inflow. I know eDesign is very competent and does excellent work, so I'm sure you've done all of this work around the water budget, but I'm just wondering, because you had inflow originally from potable water and now I understand the water, the catchment area is 200 acres. Do you feel that will fully, your analysis shows that will fully replace like a daily inflow of potable water?
Yes, and maybe Eric Rothstein on the Zoom, maybe he could take this one since his firm did the water modeling.
Am I unmuted now?
You are. Hi there.
Hi. Yeah, we've done the modeling and we don't see the need for any makeup water even through the 20-year drought.
Wow.
So in an average year, we just won't see any makeup water being triggered, but we do have a backup makeup water system, just like we put in the Brooklyn Botanical Gardens as well.
Great. Thank you. Commissioners, any other questions or comments before we take a vote?
We are expecting construction to start, sorry, I'm still Mike. We're expecting construction to start next year, sometime mid-year, and it'll take about a year to do everything.
Okay, well, in summary, this is a really exciting project. Hopefully it'll be a model for, our parks all over the city. And we really appreciate the Conservancy taking this step. Okay,
Thank you.
so Commissioners, I'll now take a roll call vote on item 28956, preliminary review of the construction of a water recirculation system, including adjacent site work. Commissioners, when I call your name, please state your vote. Isabel Castillo,
Approve.
Karen Keel,
Approve.
Carrie Maloney, Manuel Miranda,
Approved.
Meryl Tish. Approved. Jimmy Van Bramer.
Approved.
And I also approve, so let the record show that the vote is unanimous and the project is approved. Congratulations and thank you. Okay, moving on to the next public hearing item. Do we have the presenters?
Let's wait to get them in the room.
Okay.
Are they here? Yeah, okay, great.
Right
Well,
here.
We can
Oh,
get
you're
started.
here. Great, okay.
Yeah.
So the next
Thank
public hearing, great, welcome. Next public hearing item is 28957, preliminary and final review of the reconstruction of the northwest shoreline as phase 1 of the reconstruction of the Harlem Mere shoreline in Central Park North between East Drive and Fifth Avenue. Please note that this project is also located at a designated scenic landmark, and as such, Landmarks Preservation Commission has issued an advisory report and the commission has reviewed it. Per standard procedure, applicants will give their presentation, public testimony will be heard, and then the commission will ask questions, deliberate, and vote. We will hear in-person testimony first, followed by testimony from remote participants. We can now proceed with the presentation. Welcome.
Great. Good morning, everyone. I'm Nick Koster. I'm the Vice President for Design at the Central Park Conservancy, and I'll be speaking today about the restoration of the northwest corner of the Harlem Mere. As the name implies, this piece of the park is located at the northwest corner of the Mere. It's also adjacent to the former Lasker Rink, the current construction site of the Harlem Mere Center. So this is really to be seen as a continuation of the work that the Conservancy already has undergoing for this area of the park. The center image that we're showing was taken a few days ago. You can see the water test that's happening for the filling of the new swimming pool. The project is moving along quite well, and we're excited that it'll be opening early next year. The goals for this project are similar to the restoration goals of the Harlem Mere Center as well. We're really continuing to restore the shoreline to its naturalized edge. We will be supporting wildlife habitat and creating accessibility around the entirety of the Mere as part of this phase master plan project. So the area of the Harlem Mere in the park, this is an area that Olmsted and Box had advocated for adding to the original plan of the park from 106th to 110th Street. And the reason why was for its unique natural features, the ability to create the Harlem Mere being one of them. The photo that is located on this slide shows what this area that the park historically looked like. Over time, through the 20th century, this was an area that had a lot of Parks Project interventions, the hardening of the shoreline, the addition of a wall, the creation of the boathouse, and the extension of the shoreline path around the southern edge of the Mere. This was an area that in the 80s, like most areas of the park, had fallen into great disrepair. One of the areas that in the early years of the Conservancy took on the design and restoration of this area of the park. In the 1990s, this area underwent a huge transformation. The shoreline was naturalized, the paths were restored, the old boathouse taken down, and the addition of the Dana Center created. As it is 30 years later, across the shoreline, we have phragmites that have established at the edge. The paths are in need of repair, so now is the time to come back and work through restoring the entirety of the shoreline. So this slide here, the Harlem Meer Center, this is the project that's currently underway, outlined in light green. As mentioned, it'll be a phased project. We see the Northwest Accessibility and Path Restoration as being the first of 5 phases of work that will proceed as funding becomes available around the Meer. And in terms of accessibility, this piece that we're sharing today will be connecting and creating accessible paths to the Harlem Meer Center, as well as up to the 110th Street Playground from the drive, as well as the park entrance here. And when the master plan is complete, we'll have accessibility created to the entirety of the program surrounding the Meer. We have a few existing condition photographs to walk through and show what the space looks like prior to the Harlem Meer site going under construction. This is a view taken across the Meer looking north. This is a view at the edge of the reconstruction area, fairly typical park paths, an area to get down to the water's edge, benches, light fixtures, and lawn. This is a view looking in the opposite direction, showing the naturalized edge, those paths and lawn. Turning and looking again towards the north, showing the state of the paths, the benches, the lawn, existing furniture. This is a view looking back towards the south, towards where the former Lasker was and where the Harlem Meer Center is going into construction today. And then just zooming in a little bit forward up that path. The extents of the site they're highlighted here in the black dashed line. Largely a path restoration and accessibility project. We'll be talking about the staircase, this path here, and the replacement of this path in its entirety, as well as the relocation of light fixtures and some of the benches. The proposed plan here, with the previous plan that we were just looking at highlighted in dash line. In terms of creating accessibility in through the site, the proposal is to create a path with an accessible ramp adjacent to it. By relocating a light fixture here, we will be creating an accessible route with ramps and handrails that's parallel to the path. This stair also is getting reconstructed. It currently has treads of various heights, and we're looking to make those uniform, as well as install a handrail. There are a few light fixtures that will need to be relocated in addition to the street light, and areas of benches that will have companion seating added to them. As you can see from this side by side of the historic, the restoration work in the 90s and the proposed today, this area of the park has largely remained unchanged over time, with some modifications to the pathway system. As mentioned, it's currently part of the construction site of the Harlem Meer Center. So this is a staging area for the contractor. So hence the site protection that you're seeing in this photograph. This is the path that I was speaking about that will be made accessible to create access from the drive to the new Harlem Meer Center. This is a section showing the character of that path. There's a very mature, large oak tree that's drip edge is within the limits of that path. So we're doing very minimal regrading of that path in this location and adding our accessible ramp with rails to the western side of that. So that's where we'll be working with the grade to achieve accessibility. Additionally, the stair that was mentioned, this is a stair that was installed as part of the 90s work. It's settled. Some of the treads are of varying heights. So as part of this work, we'll be going in, adding new granite stairs, adding handrails to those that will allow access from the drive down to this path that leads to the Harlem Center. In terms of the materials palette, we'll be using granite steps here with black painted handrails, very typical to what the Conservancy has been using on restoration projects. The asphalt paths will be replaced with more new asphalt paving with either vertical or flush block granite curbs. The benches will be being replaced with the settee bench, which is typical to what's been happening in the areas in and around the Harlem Meer. And the larger long photograph down here at the bottom, this is a ramp at the dairy in Central Park, which uses the same accessibility approach to create accessibility to the dairy and the Kinderberg chess and checkers here. And that is the extent of our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We will check for remote testimony and in-person testimony. Jenna, do we have anybody signed up for remote testimony?
We have no one signed up for remote testimony at this time. Is anyone within the Zoom room here to testify? If so, please use the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen. I see no hands at this time, so we may proceed. Thanks.
Thank you. It doesn't appear we have any in-person either, so over to commissioners.
Commissioners, questions or comments about this project? Isabel.
I have a question. Nick, thank you for the thorough presentation and thank you for adjusting the alignment of the path. Before it had some jogs that I think are much improved in the new plan. I just want to fully understand the reason behind segregating the ADA path with handrails on either side versus the regular path. What percentage is the ADA path?
The ADA path, we're doing, I believe, 7 to 8% slopes with landings.
Okay. And is the other path just because of the roots of the trees more irregular? Like why the separation?
Why the separation? So yeah, with the roots of the trees, we're concerned about really any excavation within that area. The path also is serving as emergency egress to the Harlem Meer Center. So needing to have a certain width for emergency access vehicles would necessitate a handrail down the middle. So in order to move that over to the side to make sure that we're creating both accessibility for those vehicles as well as people.
Got it. So the wider path, does it remain, I guess you said it's inaccessible, like what is it?
I
What
mean,
would be the found condition once this renovation?
Sure, it's also around 8% with no landings.
Okay. So it's more about the landings and the handrail and not being able to meet ADA guidelines to allow a
Correct.
vehicle.
We weren't able to get it to 5%.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, we just weren't able to pull it out far enough to achieve that.
Okay. That answers my question. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments or questions? All right. Thank you, Nick, for the presentation. Thank you also for considering our comments around the path. And we are pleased, I think, as Isabel said, with the resolution that you have now. Okay, so I'll now take a roll call vote on item 28957. Commissioners, when I call your name, please state your vote. Isabel Casilla,
Approve.
Karen Keel, Carrie Maloney, Manuel Miranda,
Approved.
Merrill Tisch, Jimmy Van Bramer.
Approve.
I also approve, so let the record show that we have a consensus vote on approving this project. Thank you very much.
Yes, you can leave them. Yeah. Great. We are live and I just want to confirm that you can hear me now.
Confirmed.
Thank you. Over to you.
Okay. The next public hearing item is 28958, preliminary review of the construction of an addition at the Rosedale Community Library located at 144-20 243rd Street in Rosedale, Queens. Please note that Commissioner Van Bramer and Commissioner Miranda are recused and they have left the room. Per standard procedure, applicants will give their presentation, then public testimony will be heard, and then the commissioner will ask questions and deliberate. We will vote on a recommendation, but because we have not have quorum because of these recusals, that recommendation will go forward to the next meeting as part of the consent agenda. And with that, go ahead. Welcome.
Me? Yes. Hi, my name is Susan Parapetti. These are my colleagues Shuchi Chauhan and Lucy Navarro from Seldorf Architects. We're here today to present the Queens Public Library for the Rosedale community. As many of you know, the Rosedale Library is located on the southern edge of Queens within the Rosedale neighborhood. Here in a close-up. The neighborhood is predominantly residential. It's built up of 1- and 2-story buildings. The library is located on the northwest corners of 243rd Street, which is the commercial thoroughfare, and 145th Avenue, which is primarily residential. The library is located, as you can see, with an adjacent vacant lot. This is where we are proposing to add a new 2-story addition of approximately 6,000 square feet. The project also is obviously the renovation of the existing library, which is about 5,500 square feet. This library is currently insufficient in square footage to provide all of the required educational and community programs that it should be very much needed for the community. Oh, there we go. Okay. The library was opened in 1962. It's a 1-story masonry building clad in brick. In the present day photo, you can see a mechanical penthouse here. In the new addition, we're planning to relocate that mechanical penthouse up to the roof level there to hopefully. I am not sure. With the mechanical penthouse? I'm not sure. Yeah. So we're planning to relocate that mechanical penthouse to the roof of the new addition. And then that way it restores the existing condition of this nice modernist building. Here are some existing photos of, on the left, you see 145th Avenue, which is that more residential street with the existing small windows. On the right is the side yard, which is all utilities, some close-up shots of the main entry from the commercial thoroughfare. And then again, some additional photos from the side yard looking at where the new addition will be. Here, this is just our simple zoning analysis, just to note that the new 2-story addition fits within the zoning envelope and will be as of right, requiring no variances. This is the existing site plan. Again, you can see the new addition will be to the west or to the left-hand side of the existing building in that vacant lot, accessible from 145th Avenue to the south. And the proposed site plan here. The main entry remains on 243rd Street. There will be a new after-hours entry in the new addition that will connect you straight to the community meeting room. And then there are additional entries for service along the west side of the property into the new addition via the side yard. This is just a very minimal landscape scope on this project that consists of 2 new street trees. And then For the program of the building, you can see that the reading rooms and the majority of the public amenities will remain on the ground floor, and the children's reading room is pushed up to the second floor. And then a slight update for the preliminary. Here in the massing study, you can see how the new two-story addition sort of interlocks with the existing building. And here is just the updated. And then this leads you to the existing cellar floor plan, which was very compact in the current library, just consisting of a staff room and a mechanical room. With the new addition, the floor plate below grade is greatly increased. And here's the current. Yes. The mechanical rooms will stay in the cellar. Yes. For all of the building systems, as you can see here, as well as we're including the code required detention tank, which takes up lots of square footage. We'll have expanded custodial offices and all of the things that will bring the building to become more modernized. Yes.
Is because a lot of renovations try to take mechanical rooms out of the cellar now because of sustainability, flooding, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm curious, as long as you're going through all of this, why you're not considering that?
Oh yeah, Shuchi, you can speak to it.
I am no expert.
I know, so this, actually, it's a very interesting question because they added a new mechanical system, which is a traditional unit up at the top. We want to, our building is going to be LEED Gold, and we did variety of studies to see which mechanical system we could tap, and we have settled on geothermal. So geothermal pipes will actually be under the new building, and the pump room for that, which will then pump the water up, is right where the mechanical room is. So it's better for it to be closer to the geothermal pipes. And then it's really just the water that's going to go up.
So in other words, you thought about it and this seems to be right for you.
Right. Okay. We do have a fresh air unit, which you will need, which is up on the roof, but the pumps are connecting to the geothermal pipes that are right below our place.
Sorry. I also want to highlight that we will have a new elevator that connects from the cellar level up through the second floor. This is the existing first floor plan, which, as you can see, entire library was in this one compact floor plate. You can see the side yard, the vacant side yard to the left, which is where the new addition will be. And then the proposed here. In the new project, the adult reading room will be greatly expanded, as well as that we'll now be able to provide a dedicated teen area. The multi-purpose / meeting room is also greatly increased in size and has a dedicated entry, as you can see in the yellow down below, that connects you to 145th Avenue, and that is for after hours. There are expanded staff areas now on the ground level, as well as facilities for the public. As you enter through the main entry, as seen in this yellow swatch here, you enter into this circulation spine of the building. And it was important for us as you immediately enter to have this visual connection to the new addition. So it very easily leads you through the building. And if you're on your way to the multi-purpose room for a community event, or you're going upstairs to the children's reading room, that's very easily accessible and good for wayfinding. Moving up to the proposed second floor, here. This floor is entirely dedicated to the children's reading room. And then the roof level here and here. As you can see, a portion of the mechanical system is relocated from the existing roof level up to the roof of the new addition. We're also planning to incorporate an array of solar panels. Moving to the exterior, this is the existing east elevation that is on that main commercial thoroughfare. It has the main entry, and the proposed here from concept, and the proposed with the materiality. So the new addition and this one wall on the ground level adjacent to the main entry is being proposed to be clad with this terracotta tile that you see on the table. We're proposing to to do it in an alternating horizontal striped pattern between the red and the gray, as we felt that this really helped to break down the scale of the building. We also thought that it provided sort of a quiet playfulness and presence and personality to the building on the street for the community. Beginning at the ground floor, these two large picture windows, those will all be replaced entirely, maintaining the transparency and visibility to the street and into the reading room. The existing aluminum canopy over the main entry will be replaced with a solar shade, like a continuous solar shade that wraps around the building. And then as you move it to the second floor, we recently were able to increase the size of that long strip window into the children's reading room. And then also just to highlight this corner picture window on the left-hand side of the slide. This window it helps define the story time reading area within the children's reading room. It's a nice vantage point for the children to be able to, they're smaller, to be able to look out over the neighborhood. And then lastly, the gray column here on the right-hand side is the stair tower, which we clad in a single tone of the gray, a terracotta tile, in an effort to help it recede back from the main elevation. And also just recently, although not represented here, that will be the location for the Queens Public Library banner. So it's the very big banner will be located there, as it's a good location to be visible from all the major thoroughfares. Okay, and the existing south elevation with the very tiny windows here, and the proposed from concept, and here with the materiality. So it was important for us to obviously make these windows on the south elevation much bigger. These look out into, they're facing south, they look into the adult and teen reading rooms. Again, highlighting within the terracotta wall, you see the after hours entry led straight into the community meeting room. And again, a continuation of the solar shade as you see it wrap across the existing brick facade and around the corner to the front. The terracotta also does a really nice job here of bookending that existing brick building. Here's the side yard today with the utilities, and then the proposed addition in the side yard. And here with the materiality. Since the last submission, we have, again, also increased the sizes of these strip windows. And we've added 2 new additional windows into the stairwell. As we thought adding light in there will help animate the space as the children march up the stairs to their reading room. And then here is just to show this is an existing section east-west. The existing building within the reading rooms has a very low and constant ceiling height. In the proposed here, we have very carefully and diligently gone through to try and consolidate all of the building systems and the structure and everything to try and get these ceilings as high as possible. So you can see that effort here in the coffered ceiling area, and then the ceilings in the new addition are also much higher. And so we hope that will make the ceiling the rooms feel lofty and bright. And then a simple north-south section that just highlights the addition of the new elevator and stair. We'll have new lighting at all the main entries. And then this brings you to the current corner view of the library as it exists today. And a general massing rendered view from concept. And here is the current proposed corner view of the library. We're very happy, and Annabelle is very happy with the outcome of the design at this point. Annabelle Seldorf, sorry, my boss. Yes, Annabelle. We're all very pleased with how this is shaped up. We're very happy with how the terracotta frames the existing brick building. I also just want to highlight briefly the continuous, you can see best in this image, the continuous solar shade, which connects the 2 entries to each other. And again, here's moving on to a view from 145th Avenue, which is that more residential side street. This is the massing from the concept. And here's the proposed, again, the 2-story new addition. And for the material palette, in addition to the terracotta, we're planning to install a granite base below the terracotta paneling at the new addition. And then just also to highlight all the windows will be just a simple aluminum frame window. This slide is merely meant to demonstrate that the terracotta in general will not be a constant color. It has a natural variation due to the firing process within the kiln. We really love that feature about terracotta, and we love to use the product all the time. So that's difficult to represent, but we did our best. And then here you can see a section perspective into the new library, which hopefully will feel more transformed, again, with the raised ceilings, the increased size of the windows, the lofty spaces, the extra square footage, and it should hopefully help support all of the desires of the community. And then also here's a quick axonometric that looks back at that first floor of the library. You can see the meeting room to the north, and then the increased size of the windows and the staff areas along the south here. And then one quick interior view. This is, again, immediately as you enter through the main entry of the building, you have the collection on your left, the service entry or the service desk on your right. And you can see that visual connection back to the new addition to very easily either bring you to that community meeting room or to the upper floor to the children's reading room. Sure.
Where's the front door?
The front door is right behind me. So here's the vestibule. Yeah. So you're kind of in that circulation spine of the building that was to the north. So you have the staff on the right and then the collection to the left.
Oh,
So
okay, 'cause
south
when you
is
said-
this way.
Right.
Yeah,
When you said you
sorry.
can see it, I was thinking, I don't see.
Oh,
it.
no, it's behind you.
Right, but the connection to the back, so that gentleman in the front, he's
Yeah.
looking at.
He's looking at a computer maybe. But yeah, he's looking
No,
out
no, the
towards
one
the-
who's walking.
Oh,
he's-
the walking, yes. So this is the new addition right here. So
Uh-huh.
right when you walk in, it's very easy wayfinding. You can see the 2 reading rooms, and then back where he's walking towards, yes, down here.
Got it.
So
okay.
he's sort of walking towards that community meeting room. There'll be appropriate signage, and not yet represented here. And then just to the right, you'll have the new elevator and the stair that takes you up to the 2nd floor.
Thank you.
Yes. And then here you're in the front of the building. So just as you walk into the main entry, you turn to the left and there'll be a nice little lounge area. And then also that's the extension of the adult reading room, increased window sizes, lots of daylight coming in, raised ceilings, indirect lighting. We're hoping all of that makes this space feel very welcoming and pleasant for the community to take advantage of and just, really spend some quality time in the library. And then this is a very quick study because I know there have been lots of questions about the color of the terracotta. So we just recently took all the tiles to the project site. And this is the existing wall here on 145th Street or 45th Avenue. And these are the current proposed red and gray tiles. We have a number of slides here that show, all the alternates up against the existing brick, showing that varying tone. We're very happy with how this is coming together. We feel these 2 materials are very complementary to each other. And it should be, I'll just click through them, but.
Susan, we're looking at these 2. correct?
Yes. So there's these 2.
Yeah.
And we did have a few other ones, but there was another shade of red that I'm realizing you don't have.
And sorry, go back. That lighter gray is this guy.
That lighter gray is this one. Yeah. And then is this the lighter red? No, it's at the end. Oh, this. Well, so there's 2, we were studying 2 different shades of red. We're sort of debating between the 2. So this is the darker red. And then this, a little hard to see in the photo, is a pale lighter.
We don't have.
You don't have the sample here yet, but we can certainly get that for you.
So which is the I'm confused. Which is the one you're thinking of going?
This is the current proposed right here,
That's not-
the ones you have on the table. This is really just sort of, this was a study that we did as we're still evaluating the color. But as of right now, this is where we stand, so.
And so can you show us the rendering with the inch full building, just so that we can understand?
Oh, aha,
There we go.
this one?
So those two stripes
Yes,
are these two.
yes.
So where
And-
will this go?
No, these were
So-
these are
That's
additional
just-
alternates that we were evaluating.
Oh, I see. Got it.
We wanted you to see kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
the whole process
Thank
and what we've been studying. I think we've moved away from this texture. Annabelle Saldorf very much, we prefer this sort of smoother tone.
Mhm.
But again, all of the tones of these terracotta, like it's difficult to show in the rendering the variation. So you kind of have to use your imagination a little bit. Yes, and this is the granite that you can see sort of down here. Yeah, so it's sort of like a water table below the terracotta. Yeah, and then the windows are going to be in sort of this like dark gray aluminum. That's for the windows. And then this additional material that we brought is the mechanical bulkhead up at the roof will be sort of this lighter silver tone, as we have found that more often than not makes it disappear just a little bit more on a bright sunny day.
Thank you. Why don't we go through the presentation since I do have to call for public testimony and then we can discuss the details. And also our Commissioner Bill Hansen is here, so we do have quorum here. So anyhow.
Okay. Oh, but thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, that was the end. Oh, I finished. I finished. Thank you. We went straight into talking.
I just want to make sure we don't have any public testimony. Jenna, do we have anybody signed up remotely?
There is no one signed up remotely. Is anyone here within the Zoom meeting to testify? If so, please use the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen. I'll give you a moment. I see no raised hands, so we can proceed. Thanks.
Thank you. We also do not have anybody in person. I also want to call out our Commissioner, Lori Hawkinson is on remotely, so we can pull her on for the discussion.
And with that, Lori, why don't you take the first comment? Hang on one sec, Lori, because we need to adjust, I think we need to adjust volume. We can't hear you.
Okay.
No, just for this.
Okay. Can you hear me
Lori, you're a little muted in the volume.
now? Okay.
Lori, you want to give it another go? Lori, we still can't hear you. No. Mm-mm. If you want to text me or email me your comment, I can deliver them, but we can't hear
We're
you.
coming out of that speaker.
It's very difficult on the Zoom as well to hear you, unfortunately.
Okay, she's going to call in via telephone, but until then, I guess I will ask if other commissioners have any comments or questions.
So happy about the second building. It will make such a wonderful change in the footprint
Mhm.
of the library usage.
Huge.
That's really wonderful.
Yeah.
It's so much extra space. So, yeah.
I have a couple of questions. Thank you for the presentation. I think the building massing is very simple and speaks very well to the existing building, and I think that's very successful about the project. I am curious to understand the thought process behind choosing terracotta and choosing the striping pattern as opposed to brick or any other type of material.
Mhm.
Definitely super helpful to see the colors against the brick because
Yeah.
you understand the association, but just backtracking just at a bigger concept, why that material, which is very different from brick, and why the striping?
Sure. We went through, well, for terracotta in general, it's a material that we love to use. We feel historically terracotta and brick they're made in a similar fashion of using out of clay. They're a similar scale in this project of this smaller, more domestic size tile. We like the natural variation of the material. And we thought that they paired very well, like in terms of them being complementary to each other, but not exact. So we actually like that juxtaposition between the old and the new. So we thought that was a great feature. After many studies with the stakeholders, we did start with a more monolithic, single color terracotta. We moved through multiple studies, and the stakeholders did land on this version of the stripes being their preferred option. And just to reiterate, we do feel that it works well in the space, or for the overall design of the building, in the sense that it breaks apart that scale of the building. It calls to the horizontality of the existing brick masonry building. And yeah, I mean, that answers the question. Yeah, so for all those reasons, yeah.
One more thing that we thought was very interesting about using terracotta was that it is a traditional material in some ways, being used on roof for many, many years. Also, it's made just the way brick is made, but it's more, because it's not a load bearing, it gives it a more contemporary look. So we wanted to connect to the existing building, but still have the new addition feel modern and contemporary. So if you look, our detailing at the corners are not going to be like brick detailing. We're actually going to have metal corners that will make it more crisp and sort of almost minimalist, like a panelized system, but somehow it still connects to the brick. So that was our thinking of using the term.
So in a way, the terracotta is speaking to the tectonics of it as opposed to the brick, which would have been structural.
Right.
That's the rationale. Got it. Thank you. That's helpful. Yes, I will get them, but why don't you go ahead and finish?
Sure. Well, thank you again for the explanation. I do think, when I first saw your renderings, the color, the picture of the terracotta felt a lot darker than the brick. And I appreciate you going out there and taking photos against the brick, because it's a lot easier to see the relationship. On your photos as well, something important to note is that the dark gray, which looks very, very dark here, looks much lighter there. And I would assume that this is a facade that is very exposed to the sun, because all of the massing around it is very low. So that should diminish the contrast that we see here. It should make it look a little bit flatter. So I think all of that is super helpful. I understand the use of terracotta, and I understand the tectonics that you're mentioning. I think those are, that makes a lot of sense to me. I don't love the stripes. That's my own personal opinion, because I'm not sure that the building needs to be so graphically expressive. I think with the detailing and the material choices, you're already doing something very elevated and elegant and contemporary against what is a pretty standard looking building. And the striping, to me, perhaps distracts away from what could have been a very beautiful detailing. But that's just my own personal opinion. I do think, looking at it against the brick, I do see the color relationship. I just feel perhaps I may not want something so graphic as a person, but I understand the thought process behind it.
Thank you.
Photographs show how brick where we will be, sorry. The photographs show where the brick, where the building will be located it's very interesting. There are two different bricks on the existing building, and that's how things were done, That brick has actually a lot of variation. It has these sort of deep purples and grays in there and bright reds in there, and
Hi, this is Lori. I don't know if you can hear me.
Oh, we can, Lori.
Hi, is it okay if I speak now? I don't mean to be
I
interrupting
believe
anybody.
Yes,
I don't mean.
Yeah, Lori, can you hear me, Lori?
Yes,
Okay, the designer was speaking and I think her mic is not working, so we're going to give her the mic and then I'll call you to speak when she's complete.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, so I was just saying that when we took the photographs at the site, we see the colors within the existing brick that are there are some deep purple colors and there are some brighter red colors. And then the two terracottas were picking those colors up really well. We did look at the building as a singular color and a mass. And I think the feeling was that because it faces the residential building, it felt larger in scale. So I think that's the scale was the thing that we really wanted to get right on that residential street, but also have a presence on the main commercial street, because you will see some of it rising up behind our existing building. And then it also appears again at the front entrance.
Thank you. Over to you, Lori.
Okay, so you can all hear me? I apologize for not being
We
there.
can hear you now.
Okay, great. I think the striping is great. I think I agree with that the architect who just spoke about it it's like a small building trying to be bigger than it is. And I think the scale of the striping works. It's kind of oversized because the building needs to rise to some kind of civic presence, which it does not have now. And I think this helps a lot. And, I'm very excited about it. And it's kind of fun, which I think is okay for a library in a kind of dreary strip of buildings there. I had one question that I know is not in our purview, but the children's library being on the second floor, I don't know the distribution, the kind of community, the group that's in the neighborhood, and if there are a lot of small children and people with strollers and all of that. And I know we're not really supposed to comment on the inside, but I'm going to comment anyway. Are there, when you walk in and you see that wall beyond where you're supposed to go upstairs to the children and the community to the left, I'm just wondering if that could be called out more significantly, that there is something beyond, because you've got the same color scheme. And I apologize again, because I know we're not supposed to be commenting inside, but I think just to kind of even enrich what you've done already, that's really exciting, could it draw us with another color or something on the wall or something that there's something exciting upstairs? Because it feels like the bottom and the top are the same. And, maybe, and I was also wondering about the height of the shelves up there and where the strollers go and all of that kind of thing. So that's a whole lot there that I packed in. But anyway, just congratulations on what you've done with a kind of dreary box that looked like a forgotten post office building or something. So.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think on the interior, our graphics signage is very bold. And we are showing the where you go up in the children's library, this very bold, it's not color, but it's a bold text.
Yeah.
We are using text as almost like it's a full wall. So that's what we're doing. And
okay, that sounds great. That sounds great.
Yeah, it's all in progress right now. It just was a little behind the submission, so it wasn't captured in this package.
Okay, great. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know how to mute myself here, but somebody can mute me. Okay.
Okay. Commissioners, any additional questions or comments? Okay, so just to summarize, first, just thank you for answering our questions around the materials and the color palette, and really appreciate that. We are very excited about this addition for the Queens Public Library, and know it will be a great deal of treasured by the community. We find the striping very playful and successful ultimately. And with that, I'll take a vote on this submission. Commissioners, when I call your name, it's item number 28958. Please state your vote. And I want to just note that while I stated prior to your presentation that we would have to recommend this for the next meeting as a consent agenda item, now that we have Commissioner Hines in here, we do have quorum, so this vote will count. So with that, Isabel Casilla,
Approve.
Bill Heinzen,
Approve.
Karen Keel,
Approve.
Carrie Maloney, Meryl Tisch. And I also approve, so let the record show approval is unanimous, and congratulations on a wonderful addition to our libraries. And with that, our meeting is concluded.